John Hunter here with REL. The number 25 was a commemorative piece in theory. It was designed to commemorate 25 years of REL. What we really did with it as a design team was set out to build the best we'd ever done. And this was really a jumping off point that informs everything we've done since in the past 3 years. It uses a very, very lightweight, very fast pistonic 15-inch driver with 4 inches of stroke. I'm not aware of a production driver doing that in our industry. It's a fantastic piece. It's very delicate, it's very light, and then extremely concussive. It's driven by a massive 1,000-watt amplifier back here. That's exactly the sort of power that's needed to do this. The cabinet is absolutely drop-dead gorgeous. It's curvilinear in this dimension. It actually tumbles home in the rear like an old Chris Craft motor launch. Just beautiful everywhere you look. Underneath, we're using supportive rails because, quite frankly, the load on 4 feet would simply be too much. Also, the rails allow us to stack, and that's necessary when you go for the Naples Ultra of reference line arrays. This is designed to be the best subwoofer on the planet, and we believe we've done that. So the 15-inch driver on the number 25 is an amazing work of art. Of course, this is one continuous piece, but it's also reinforced in the center section because the amount of surface deflection that's necessary when you're driving with a 4-inch voice coil and really stroking as far as this piece can, it requires extra gusseting. So we're using a carbon fiber brace in the center here, as well as a full carbon fiber cone. The amplifier package on number 25 is really quite complex, in addition to the obvious 1,000-watt Class D amplifier that we use in this. And by the way, we use Class D and AB interchangeably. It's all about quality. The amplifier of this is just simply the grippiest, fastest, super deep bass we've ever been able to find. We've got a filter board that's fantastically complicated on these. A normal REL filter board fills a circuit board about this large. A reference line array filter board is about that long and just stuffed full of about 1,800 components. In addition to the filters that we use, we also have in there 2 parametric equalizers. We also have an FM radio station. We have a wireless section built in as a receiver. So these are very, very complex modern pieces. The inputs and outputs, and the outputs are there so that when we stack them, you can simply daisy chain in. You can come in balanced or RCA low level. You can come in high level and RCA 0.1s. So normally what most people wind up running is the high level inputs and outputs if you're doing stacked line arrays, and then you'll come in for a 0.1 and come back out again to the next above it. Here's the wireless circuitry over here. This is the pairing switch. This is where you would attach the aerial. And in addition, as always, we insist on extremely efficient amplifiers so they don't suck a lot of current from the wall when they are running, but they also have a standby circuit that allows it to drop down to ½ a watt when you actually want it to just be dormant. These are great pieces of design work. We've sold thousands of these units. They're very, very stable. They're very, very reliable. We're really proud of the electronics in these number 25s. So the cabinet design on the 25, as you can imagine, is really something quite special. It takes over 3 months to build a cabinet on a number 25. The curvilinear sides are actually formed using an unusual process. We use a very large RF chamber, and what we do is we bombard the 30 millimeter, which is 1 1/8 inch thick side panel. It's a stiff monocoque of real MDF. And we put it into the chamber, we barrage it with an enormous amount of energy to the point that it begins to loosen up all the plasticizers. Then a male form is pushing it under about 3,000 pounds of compression into a female form. And it remains thus for about 3 hours until everything is cooled off. And when we're done, we have this perfectly shaped curvilinear shell. It's an unusual process. It's quite expensive, but it results in perfect repetitive curves over and over and over again. So some of the special detailing in the number 25. The badge, for example, it starts off life as a 1-inch billet of aluminum. And we retain about 80% of it below the surface area that you can see. Nothing I do is just gratuitous for embellishment. It's there for physical purpose, and then we make it look beautiful. So most of this, like an iceberg, is embedded actually below the surface of this lovely lacquer that you see here. And it's there to really resonance tune the last little bit. There are certain things that don't allow us to do spars up here. And underneath as well, because we have things like wiring harnesses that exist down there. So these allow us to fine-tune the resonance of the cabinet and it's sort of the last finishing touch. That's the last thing that goes on to a number 25. The grill on a number 25 is a critical part of its design. First of all, the design doesn't look complete without it. The whole purpose to it is as a return so that it ties back into the curvilinear sidewalls of the cabinet. Additionally, these shock cords, which are elastic, are really designed to suggest the low E string on a double bass. It adds a certain beauty to it as well, and practically speaking, we also added these two carbon fiber struts back here that form a rigid structure so that you don't have to worry about trying to hold this thing under tremendous tension. It's really well designed. All you have to do to install it, carefully align the two top holes, get it started, and then just simply press it in. And there you go. Now it's a number 25. The ability to vertically stack number 25s is something that has gotten us a lot of attention, but is often misunderstood. It's not done to make increasingly ridiculous amounts of bass. A single 25, a pair of 25s is more than enough to make enough bass in virtually any room on the planet. So why do we do it? Why do we need 6, 3 per side stacked up vertically? And the answer is that sound in nature doesn't simply crawl along floorboards. When an event takes place, when a massive bass transient occurs, whether it's in music or in a special effect in a movie, there's a vertical component to that. If a bomb goes off in front of you, there's an enormous concussive vertical blast to it. You simply can't pull that off out of little boxes sitting firmly on the ground. So when you hear this, it's extremely important that we be able to reproduce that third component, and it also allows us to tune vertically. No one of those is tuned exactly the same way. The foundational anchor piece will be tuned in a certain way, and that will have the deepest, lowest bass. The one in the middle is responsible for middle bass attack, that stuff that hits you in that chest cavity. And the upper one is responsible for that shimmer, that little delicate quaking that you hear when you're listening to profoundly deep bass, especially as it's resonating off into space. The number 25 comes with this absolutely beautiful remote control. This is genuine carbon fiber inset inside of triple chrome plated trim ring. And all the controls feel like analog controls. They're actually wirelessly transmitting to digital tact switches, but it allows you to have a natural haptic control feedback. Now the number 25 has one other trick, which is that it has 2 different parametric filters built in. Most rooms have a lot of drop off below about 26, 27 hertz, and they also have a lot of buildup in the sort of 40 to 50 hertz region, extending all the way up to 70 hertz. So we give you 2 different filters, one that allows you to lift the extreme low bass and gently pare away that room boom that really can be annoying. One of the reasons that most people can't stand subwoofers is because they don't really deal with all the issues that get driven in the room. The 25 fixes all those issues, so you've got not just 1 but 2. Here's the first filter, and then back to the second filter, and you can increase or decrease up to 6 dB on each of those filters. It's a brilliant system. Number 25 is a statement piece for REL. This is a piece that's really designed to launch us into the next 25 years. What you've got here is just a tour de force, both technical and sonic, and just a riot for the eyes and the senses. The people who own these are just extremely lucky human beings.